Hi everybody, welcome back. This is Year of the Book, where we are documenting our writing journey with all the bumps along the way. So I am back. It is write night. I feel like I haven't had a proper writing session in a while because again I was away for a bit last week. So I only had one session and that session was mainly sort of editing-y based, and now I'm really like, I'm ready to get back into it. However, I do have a lot of things that I want to do tonight. I wanted to film a couple of videos first off, but this is primarily my writing evening, so my focus is that. And I'm undecided on whether I'm going to do minor final edits on a couple of stories or major first round edits on probably only one story, or just keep writing a new story that I started a couple of weeks ago. I would like to try and do all three of those things, but realistically speaking, I'm not going to be able to do that. So, what to do? I don't know. I might try and do like an hour of writing, first drafting the new story, and then switch to a bit of editing if I've still got some energy, but let's see how it goes. And I also really need to have a shower before I do anything else because it's getting hot here in the UK again and I feel pretty sticky and disgusting, so let's do that first. Okay, we're back, we're clean, we have drinks. We don't have dry hair because, although I do own a hairdryer, it is 27 years old and I haven't used it for approximately 26 years. So we don't have that. But we're ready to start writing. But first, I thought maybe I could just give you a little update as to where I'm at with my stories and what I'm thinking about tonight. So, firstly, I had my first acceptance this week. I got a piece accepted in a journal, an online journal, and I don't actually know what the sort of etiquette is for publicizing, like where and what. So I'm just going to leave it for now. But as soon as it's been published, which will hopefully be soon, but I also actually don't know that. As soon as it's been published, I will, of course, share that with you. It was the flash piece that I sent to Smoke Along Quarterly, and it got rejected from there. And I sent it to this other journal on Monday last week, and they accepted it on the Friday. So it was super quick turnaround as well, which was great. So I feel really happy about that. I've talked before about how important it is to really read what a magazine is publishing and really understand what they're looking for and their aims and scope. And for this journal, I immediately felt like, okay, my piece just kind of clicked in with what I was reading already. And they also had the perfect category for the piece because it was a piece that I had struggled to categorize. So anyway, I'll tell you more about that when I can. So that was really exciting. And then this morning I also got my first tiered rejection. So this is a slightly more encouraging rejection. So it includes lines such as, "We've thoroughly enjoyed reading your work, but it's not what we're looking for right now. We hope that you will send us something again in the future." So it's like slightly more encouraging, and it basically means that it's got through the first round. So it's been properly read by editors, and then it's been rejected. But still, first tiered rejection, which I still found encouraging and interesting. So let's talk about tonight. So I said I was working on a new story, and I kind of had in my head the idea to write something that feels more like straight horror, let's say. So you will have seen me in lots of videos talking about different genres, And I think I have some kind of genre confusion going on. But that is because I write short stories and I'm not always writing in the same genre. They're not always horror stories. They're not always ghost stories. They're just sometimes something else, right? And I struggle to categorize that. But I wanted to try and write something that is more straight horror. And I wanted to do a couple of different things within that. So firstly, something that sits more clearly in the horror genre. Secondly, I wanted to do something that felt a bit more, not gory really. I'm not really into like gore, violence, body horror. But something a bit more grisly, let's say, and a bit more visceral feeling. I wanted to write something like that. It's because that's really not something that I usually do when there is a supernatural element to my stories. It's more ghosty. It's more like wispy, essency. It's not like, oh my god. So I wanted to have a go at writing something like that. And then I also wanted to try doing something slightly different with like the main horror-y bits. So in a lot of my stories that have a supernatural element, my very strong desire intuitively is to have the sort of big scare, horror, ghost, whatever that element might be, like at the end of the story, especially when it's a very short story, right? You kind of end on the like, ugh moment, and then it finishes. But I wanted to try and write something that is still short, but that lingers, that drags through the horror parts, such that it doesn't end on, you know, whatever that particularly horrible bit is, or that scary bit. Something that lingers, and something that you keep reading and you're like, oh god, right? Something that feels a bit like that, a bit more horrible. I don't know why I had the desire to write something like this, because it's really not what I usually write. But I just wanted to have a go at it to see if I could write something that felt a bit more like that. So that is what I started to write the other week. And I've kind of only written like probably 2 scenes, and I've kind of been plotting it a little bit in my head. And I think I have an outline in my head now. So what I'd like to do is just note that outline down and then get on with a bit of the writing. So I'm going to try and do that for the first hour. And then, as I said before, I might switch to editing. And I have a couple of stories that are still in first drafts that need, you know, full, probably several rounds of edits. And I really want to get to them, but I've been sort of put off because I remember rereading the first draft and being like, oh god, this needs loads of work still. And that's kind of put me off doing it, but I also really want to do it because I think it's a really powerful story. So I don't want to put it off indefinitely. And then there's also the Villa story, which is the novelette. And I talked previously about maybe extending that into a novella. If I add another 5,000-6,000 words to that, it could become a novella. And I think if I do some more sort of in-depth, more developmental editing with it, because it's a longer piece, I think I can sort of plot out where I want to add additional scenes in. So I want to get to that, but again, it's quite a big job and my brain is sort of shying away from it. So let's see what we can do tonight. I'm certainly going to start with the new story, the horrible horror story that I hope to write. And we see how we go with that. And then when the hour is up, it's already 8:30. When the hour is up, we see if we want to switch to editing something else, or I'm just going to kind of go with the flow a little bit. And then in between, maybe I can film another video. That now seems less likely given all the things I've just suggested that I do myself tonight. But let's just see how it goes, because I'm not going to force any of these things. There might be like an easygoing video that I can do at the end of the evening, so I can always go with that. And if I don't manage to do that, hey, I'm filming a video right now. So there's that. Okay, so let's get going. I'm going to work as always in 25-minute chunks followed by a 5-minute break. That's usually how I punctuate my writing evenings, and that works for me. And yeah, we're back filming and writing on the bed. So let's go for it. Alrighty, so we are 1 hour in, and I am still writing this new story, and I don't feel like I want to switch to editing. So I think I'm going to abandon that, and I'm going to keep going with the story, and I'm wondering whether I can finish the first draft tonight. But I need to kind of get a move on, because as always, I have the idea of writing a short story, and then I struggle a bit with pacing. I pace it like it's a much longer story, but we don't have time for that. So I do need to get a move on with the plot if I am going to finish it. So we'll just see how it goes. I think maybe I won't manage it tonight, but it would be quite nice if I could finish the first draft of it. There are kind of like a couple of more scenes to go. This is the way I've planned it, is in kind of scenes. So maybe we have 2 or 3 more scenes left. So let's see how that goes. I'm gonna get some more tea, and then keep going. Maybe do another hour of writing. I don't know if I'll manage to do another video tonight. I also became aware that I am quite tired, so I'm also keeping that in mind as well. So let's just see how it goes. Okay, so we're done. It is now after 11, and I started writing around 8:30, so that is 2.5 hours, more or less, of solid writing. Ended up not really taking all my breaks because I kind of wanted to get it done. And I'm aware that there's quite a lot of like mistakes and missing words and stuff in there now because I'm getting tired. So I would like to reread it now, but I'm not going to because I'm tired. I'm just gonna rest it for now. Quite pleased with how that went. It definitely is giving the slightly more... I know I said not gory earlier, but it is a bit gory. Not in like a it's not like a violent gore. It's a different type of gore. But yeah, I don't know. It's definitely visceral, which is what I was going for. So I will leave it here for now. Obviously now it's too late for me to start thinking about filming another video, but that's okay. And I might send this first draft to my partner just to see what he thinks, really. Because I'm interested for him to read it. And then I'll come back to edit it in the next few weeks. I would like to send this story to a horror magazine. So yeah, that's it. Did I enjoy writing something that was this different? Yeah, I kind of did. It actually didn't feel that different to writing any other type of story that I've written so far. Except I did have to try and sort of lean into, I guess, like the physicality of it, the bodiliness of the story. So yeah, I had the same issues that I normally have, as I said, with writing a short story. in that kind of pacing. I struggle a bit with the pacing, and then I get bogged down worrying about the pacing in the first draft, whereas really it doesn't matter. I should just keep going. But anyway, it's done now. I have done, broadly speaking, what I set out to do tonight, and I'm happy with that, so that's pretty good progress. So thank you for coming with me on this writing session to write something new and different for the first time. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up and a follow, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!